Welcome to Balor Otherworld. We are here in Cork County on the southern tip of Ireland, and we're bringing you the story of the Three Castle Head. Legends abound about Dunlough Castle and the cliffs below us here where there is believed to be treasures. We will also be bringing you the story of the O'Donoghue clan, the princes of this region who were cursed, and it was a terrible, terrible fate where all of them met murderous or suicidal ends. And lastly, we will be talking about the Lady of the Lake. This ghostly apparition is rumoured to bring about the death of anybody who witnesses her while they are here. So what are you waiting for? Let's go! This land was controlled by the O'Mahony clan from the 5th to the 10th century. They were a great dynasty which ruled Cork all the way from Cork City down to Mizenhead. This land was theirs and theirs alone. They faced some enemies. They had historic rivalries with the O'Briens of Thomond and the McCarthys of Tipperary. When the arrival of the Normans spelled disaster and competition for the McCarthys, they were forced to move their territory south and encroached on the O'Mahonys. They retreated as far as here to Dunlough Castle, and they established an extremely powerful fortification here which remained unattacked because of how absolutely impenetrable its defences were. Not just in the 10th or 11th century, but going down through generations, it remained intact and served them well as a last resort to keep their families safe. Dunlough Castle is an ancient fortress. It was built in 1207 and it is remarkable for the time because it was made with dry stone. Behind here there is a 120-metre cliff into the ocean, and on this far side you have another cliff which has a wall around it to create a man-made lake which runs all the way up to the third castle below us here. There are 3 castles built with a wall connecting each one of them. They are 3 stories in height, and they were built by Donn O'Mahony, and it served his family well. For 400 years they stayed here protected from outside threats and dangers until the Battle of Kinsale in 1601. This spelt disaster for the family, as it did for many Gaelic lords in Ireland who were forced to relinquish their lands to the English and to the invading forces. And it signalled a major change in the control and ownership of this land before us. When Donn built Dunlough Castle, he built it upon an ancient pagan site of a ring fort thousands of years old. It remains a mystery to this day why he chose this location beyond the obvious strategic reasons, because it was sacrilege to damage such an ancient and venerated location. Rumours abound that he did so on the instruction of one of the gods of death in Celtic Ireland, Donn. The final family to reside at Three Castle Head was the O'Donoghues. This family had one black sheep among them, and he wanted nothing more than power and wealth, and was willing to do anything necessary to get it. This included making a deal with an old ally of the owners of Dunlough Castle, that being Donn, the god of death. This deal involved accessing dark magics by becoming a servant of this dark lord who occupied the Otherworld and had many gateways just beyond our reach. As you can feel it now, these evil deeds linger on. The shadow of such acts persist as we feel it in the wind. O'Donoghue got what he was looking for. Very soon after his deal with Donn, he began to show great results, and he had powers, wealth, riches. His family saw his success and were quick to adapt. They weren't famous or infamous in Ireland, but in the Otherworld, where they were a new ally to Donn. He enjoyed having them play havoc with his enemies, but he was always careful to remind them that there would be a price to pay eventually. They hoarded massive wealths and powers, secrets which lie beneath this lake and these towers before us. We wonder what that payment would have to be, what it would look like. And when Donn came calling for it, it was generations later, and the O'Donoghues had all but forgotten what they owed. Shocked and terrified, they sought help from more benevolent creatures from the Otherworld. The O'Donoghue clan could not make payment, and so Donn claimed it in their blood, and he would use their blood in an effort to continue opening up gateways beneath Dunlough Castle, unlocking dark forces which lay buried beneath the sea for thousands of years. The O'Donoghues had no way of stopping this, and each of them paid, being found murdered or having committed suicide. One by one, they all were wiped from existence. They would need the assistance of otherworldly figures to defeat and overcome this dreadful fate and stop their family home being decorated in their blood. Because for each death that occurred, they would find the markings on the walls of their castles as blood ran every day from one of their towers. Now, the allies that the O'Donoghues sought were Manannán, first of all, the Poseidon, the god of the sea of Celtic Ireland. Unfortunately, he did not take kindly to the fact that the family had gone to the god of death, a rival of his for all of their powers, and they had been inadvertent opponents and rivals of Manannán and his people. So he was not offering help to them, and so they sought an enemy of his, Cliona, Queen of the Banshees, a figure who is very important to Cork County and who we will be discussing in great detail in future. But she also was not willing to aid anyone who was involved with dark forces and dark magic. They begged for the help of a final person, Cailleach, the Queen of Winter. Surely she and her army would be able to aid. Their secret magics would be perfect to combat the dark energy and force of Donn. But Cailleach did not take kindly to any group threatening her power and energy. So she said no and doomed them all when she spoke those words. Manannán and Cailleach, they did not want Donn to succeed and resurrect a darkness which was buried deep beneath the earth. They were not going to allow that to happen. But it didn't mean that they wanted the O'Donoghues to be saved. They hated them for their hubris, and they did not want to see any of them come out of this, alive at least. They did choose one as their champion, their guardian, because in order to end Dún's goal of unleashing a dark force, dark magic must be stopped with dark magic. So An Cailleach and Manannán resurrected the last of the O'Donoghus to die. This was a young lady who became the White Lady of the Lake here beside me. And she was tasked with maintaining the sacrifices which would be used to keep the gates closed to unleashing hell on earth. This creature appears when the blood has been used and completely expired from the last victim. Each person who is sacrificed will die tragically, and their blood will be seen, as was the case with the O'Donoghus, dripping from the walls of these towers every day as a way to complete the ritual to keep those doors shut. So this poor ghostly apparition has no goal of her own. She is trapped, endlessly seeking out their next unwitting victim. And it will be this way until the end of time.